So, question 1. A sample of magnesium consisting of 3 isotopes has a relative atomic mass of 24.31. Table 1 gives the relative abundance of 2 of the isotopes. So we can see the mass numbers in this case and the relative abundances. Question 1.1 states that we have to use this information to determine the relative abundance and hence the mass number of the third isotope, and you have to give your answer to the appropriate number of significant figures. So this is a 4-mark question. So what we need to do is, since we know that the magnesium has a relative atomic mass of 24.31, they're giving us hints where we can guess the mass number of Y. So meaning we can give, let's say, the mass number of the third isotope. I'm going to specify it here. I'm going to say that the mass number of the third isotope. So this is the way how you solve this question. The mass number of the third isotope, we're going to give it as, let's say, Y. So Y is going to be your mass number of the third isotope. Now the relative abundance, okay, of this Y, of this mass number Y. So the relative abundances, they have given us the 2 relative abundances. So meaning that we can add these 2 values together and subtract it from 100%. Since we know that this is a percentage, the total is going to be 100%. So the relative abundance of Y in terms of percentage is going to be 100% minus 78.8% plus 11.7%. So meaning, guys, when you put this in your calculator, do not take in consideration of the percent sign. All you're going to do is 100 minus 78.8 plus 11.7. That's going to give you a value for roughly about 9.5. So it's going to give you 9.5%. So this is going to be your relative abundance for Y. It's going to be 9.5%. Okay, just going to write that down neatly so you guys can see 9.5%. Okay, so now we have all these values. Now the next step is we're going to do the simple step of how we determine the relative abundances. So you guys must have known how to calculate the AR of isotopes in this case. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the mass numbers by all the relative abundances, and we're going to add them all up together. So meaning that I'm going to show you guys how it is done. So your AR in this case, which is the relative abundance, not the relative abundance, sorry, the relative atomic mass, this is going to be 24 times 78.8, since we're doing this part first, and we're going to add that up with 25 times 11.7% plus Y times 9.5. That's what we found out, right? Divided by, since this is a percentage, we're going to divide it by 100. Now the reason why we divide by 100 is because when you add all of them together, you get a positive 100. So that's the reason why we divide by 100. And we're going to make it equivalent to the relative atomic mass, which is the AR in this case, as 24.31. This is how we're going to create our equation, 24.31. Okay, so now using your calculator, what you guys are going to do is you're going to multiply and add these 2 numbers together. So I'm just going to put that in my calculator. Remember to use your calculator in the exam. It's really helpful that you guys have a good calculator for the exam. So if we simplify it, actually, if you look at it, we're going to multiply the 24.31 times 100. So it makes it much easier for us to arrange it in terms of the right hand side and the left hand side. So I'm just going to take out my calculator here in this case. So 24.31 times 100, that's going to give you a value of about, which is equivalent to 2431. So since that is 2431, what you're going to do is we have to multiply and add the other side, right? So it's going to be 24 times 78.8 plus 25 times 11.5. That's going to give you a value of about 2183.7 plus 9.5 Y. Now this is basic algebra now what I'm doing here. So we're going to rearrange this in terms of Y. So it's going to become 2431 minus 2183.7. Hopefully your algebra is strong, because you have to know how to solve this type of question in terms of rearranging it to make Y the subject of the formula. So indirectly we're going to get the value of the mass number of Y to be as 26.03. Now this is the main catch. For a 4 marker, you should not leave it as a decimal. Do not leave it as a decimal. This is a very key point that you guys have to remember, is that your answer must be rounded to the nearest integer. So meaning you have to make it a whole number. So we're gonna, since we know that mass numbers are whole numbers, we have to make it whole numbers. So 26. So we're just going to round it off to 26. That's going to be your mass number in this case. Okay.